Hello everybody and welcome to 1000 PS. My name is Alessio and I will be your host today. Together we'll be talking about the differences between the new BMW R 1300 GS and the outgoing model, the BMW R 1250 GS. Stay tuned. Alright, let's begin with the most important part of any bike, its engine. The new motorcycle features a 1300cc engine. The outgoing model featured a 1254cc engine, so now we got exactly 1300cc. The engine has a larger bore with 106 times 53 and less stroke with 102.5 times 76. The engine remains a boxer engine, the only difference being, not the only difference being, with a huge difference being that the transmission can now be found under the engine. The engine has not only been improved, but BMW opted for a completely new engine. The new engine has more horsepower and more torque. To be exact, it has 145 horsepower. The old one had 136. So that means the new engine produces 9 horsepower more. The old bike was already great in comparison to its rivals, which featured more potent engines, upwards of 170 horsepower. But it didn't feel like the BMW needed a larger engine. However, it got one and more horsepower is always welcome. The old engine produced 145 Newton meters of torque at 6,250 RPM. The new engine, however, produces 149 Newton meters of torque at 6,500 RPM. If the difference will be noticeable or not, we're gonna have to find out in a later moment. The cardan shaft remains, by the way, and the GS overall weighs 12 kilograms less, which is a lot. The transmission alone reduces its weight by almost 4 kilos. The new one weighs 237 kilos, the old one weighed 249 kilos. The aluminum frame contributes greatly to the weight savings. So does the lithium battery, and furthermore they reduced the fuel tank capacity by 1 liter. However, those 800 grams will probably not be noticeable. The suspension is still an Evo telelever with 190 millimeters of travel in the front and 200 millimeters in the rear. It's the same as the old. However, the fork diameters was increased from 37 millimeters to 45 millimeters. The sporty suspension is an optional, a so-called optional equipment X works, as BMW call it. With that suspension, you get 20 millimeters of travel more in the front and also in the rear. So 210 in the front in that case and 220 in the rear. Its rivals feature a longer suspension travel, but the new one can definitely keep up with them. The brakes of the old model were dual disc brakes mounted radially with 4 piston calipers and featured a 305 millimeters diameter in front and 276 millimeters in the rear. Now, however, it features a single disc brake with 2 piston calipers and the diameter of 310 millimeters in the front and 285 in the rear. Big changes can be found in the manufacturer of the brakes. Now the brakes are made by Brembo, not anymore by Hayes. The wheelbase is 1,518 in comparison to 1,514 of the outgoing model, so no real difference. The engine, however, is more compact and the swing arm is longer, which definitely leads to better handling. The handlebar rake is 63.8 degrees of the new one. The old model had a 64.3 degree rake. With the trail of the new one has a trail of 112 millimeters. The old one had a trail of 100.6 millimeters. If this really makes a difference is yet to be seen. Let's talk about the seat. If it's really true that you can't modify the base seat height of 850 millimeters, then the old model seat was simply better, as you had the chance between an 850 millimeters and an 870 millimeter seat. However, you can still opt for the comfort seats where you can set the angle. You have a lower seat with 830 millimeters or the rally seat with 870 millimeters of seat height. Together with the electronic suspension, it is possible to add the adaptive vehicle height control feature, which automatically sets the height of the seat from 820 millimeters to 850 millimeters, depending on your traveling speed or if you're stationary. This, however, is not a feature that BMW introduced, as it can already be found on the Harley-Davidson Pan America. And also the comfort seats were an option for the 1250 GS as well, so nothing new. The tire and wheel size remain the same. We have a 120, 70, 19 in the front and 170, 60, 17 in the rear. Let's talk about the standard equipment. So the new model has 4 riding modes as standard. You have Rain, Road, Eco and Enduro. The predecessor model didn't have the Enduro riding mode. However, buying the package, you can get up to 7 riding modes, of which 4 you can personalize yourself. Now you have a full integral ABS Pro as standard, which acts depending on your lean angle. The old model had only the Integral Pro ABS, which meant that braking in the rear did not activate the front brake. In the old model, only braking in the front, it automatically braked in the rear, whereas now you have it in both directions. Then you have the Dynamic Traction Control DTC, the Hill Start Assistant HSC, a 6.5-inch color TFT dash with connectivity, which, however, the old one had already. Now, however, and this is very interesting, you have heated grips as standard, and this is a feature that if you don't have it as standard, you might not opt to buy. But having it as standard means that it's going to be very useful in a lot of moments, all the more for those who decide to ride in fall or in winter. So I personally am a big fan of heated grips as standard. Now what else do we have? We have keyless ride, RDC, which is a system that checks your tire pressure. You have engine drag torque control, so-called MSR, and dynamic cruise control as standard. The old one had a dynamic brake control. On the new model, you have new matrix LEDs for a better visibility. Also, you have the blinkers integrated into your handguards, which could be problematic if you decide to bring the motorcycle off-road. Then again, with those huge cylinders on the side, you might fall onto those before the handguards, so they might not even be all too exposed to damage. Alright, what else do we got? We got the optional X-Works equipment. So ACC, Active Cruise Control, which can be found in the Riding Assistant package, the FCW Front Collision Warning, the SWW, which is a lane change warning. Oh yeah, and I guess the normal, the standard cruise control, which is already very good. The old the model already had the riding modes Pro. However, now you have 3 modes more. You have Dynamic, Dynamic Pro, and Enduro Pro. And the electronic suspension DSA, Dynamic Suspension Adjustment. The new system then has everything that the old system featured, but more. The DSA, Dynamic Suspension Adjustment, an intelligent emergency call, Quick Shifter Pro. The Quick Shifter, by the way, the Quick Shifter Pro was a single option on the old model. However, on paper, we couldn't find it as a single option. You can only get it in a package, but I am not sure if this is gonna be the case for real. The Headlight Pro features either a new headlight or the already existing Matrix LED as a cornering light, and which offers the possibility of certain lighting effects. The new R1300 GS comes as standard with a height adjustable windshield. However, in 2 out of 4 versions, you can also get an electronically adjustable windshield, which could be very, very handy. This is going to be a very interesting feature. We're going to need to see that one. And also, if you look at the black thingy beneath the windshield, that is the radar, in case you were wondering. So the new motorcycle has more features as standard, which is always great. It is a more potent motorcycle. It has more horsepower, more torque. It weighs less, and therefore I think the slight increase in its price is also justified. That concludes our video for today. I thank you very, very much for taking your time and listening to me. I hope you liked the video. In that case, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and don't forget the most important thing, to subscribe to this channel. I will be uploading, or we will be uploading, more English content for you in the future. I am very hyped. I hope you are so too. Let's go. Thank you very much, and bye.